This video is on the subject of Human Resource Management Sem 6, Module 3, Human Relations, Leadership and Motivation. This is the first part of the third module, which focuses on human relations and leadership. This is the disclaimer. This video is being made for Institute of Distance and Open Learning, University of Mumbai. The topics that we would be covering in this video would be significance of human relations, leadership styles, transactional theory of leadership, transformational theory of leadership, and distinguish between transactional and transformational leadership. What is human relations? It is very important for the human resources to interact with each other and also with those of the outsiders. Therefore, there is an importance and significance of human relations. Human relations basically is a continuous activity, and it is how people behave under various conditions and why people behave in such a situation. It requires a multidisciplinary approach, and it's very essential for the employees to build relations within themselves. Therefore, human relations is defined as the study and practice of utilizing human resources through knowledge and through an understanding of the activities, attitudes, sentiments, and interrelationships of people at work. Why do you think human relations is important? Human relations is important for the very fact that it leads to job satisfaction. What is job satisfaction? The employees in the organizations have to maintain social relations with each other, right? When they feel that they have people around, they have friends around, they have good social relations around, good interpersonal relations around, they are satisfied with their job. This leads to greater commitment, and greater commitment and efforts on the parts of the employees leads to higher performance, which in turn gives them rewards. Again, a connected point, human relation leads to higher productivity. What is higher productivity? So higher productivity is where the targets are completed effectively and efficiently. Less inputs, more outputs. It is basically the ratio of output to input. The firm will get, or the company will get, greater outputs with lesser inputs. Human relations lead to innovation. So when people interact, they exchange ideas, they exchange their views, they come up with new schemes, new designs, and they achieve competitive advantage in the market. Human relations reduces conflicts. What are conflicts? A lot of conflicts, that is differences in opinion, occur when people work with each other. However, when the HR builds human relations, the conflicts between the superior subordinate or the subordinate and subordinate is reduced to a large extent. Managers who adopt this human relations are proactive, and thus they foresee that there could be a conflict in a particular situation, and that conflict, the impact of the conflict reduces. Human relations enables employee participation. A company that adopts human relations approach always takes opportunity, or probably gives opportunity, to the employees to participate in the decision making process, and this is how the participation of employees are enhanced. Human relations develops informal relations. Informal relations are those relations, let's take an example. having breakfast together, going out for lunches together as friends. Although they may be colleagues at work, but when they go out, they develop informal relations. Sharing their personal life develops informal relations. Okay, and this is very, very important so that the employee feels a little relieved from pressure and stress. Effective communication. The success of an organization largely depends on effective communication. Employees are encouraged to express their views and opinions on the various policies and practices that are prepared by the management. Generally, good and professional firms allow employees to knock in and come to their cabin at any time to discuss any issues, and this leads to effective communication. All these aspects reduces employee turnover and reduces absenteeism. Absenteeism means employees do not remain absent without prior notice, and labor turnover, they do not leave the organization without information, okay, or they do not leave the organization frequently. So building human relations is very, very important, and adopting a human relations approach provides the company and its employees with these benefits. Let's move on to the next topic, which is called as leadership. We have two definitions that is being discussed on the slide. Leadership is the activity of influencing people to strive willingly to achieve group objectives. This definition was given by George Terry. Leadership is the ability to secure desired actions from a group of followers voluntarily without using coercion. This definition is given by Alford and Beatty. Effective leadership is very, very important, and it is definitely required in an organization to build the organization to the next level. Effective leaders are attributed to provide rewards to the company in the form of profit, keep employees together, develop teamwork. A leader can adopt various styles. What are those styles of leadership? The first style of leadership is autocratic leadership. What is autocratic leadership? Autocratic leadership means the superior takes the decision. The superior does not consult the subordinates. The superior is responsible for the decision, and the relations between the superior and the subordinates are formal. Bureaucratic leadership is usually followed in government organizations. Decision is usually according to rules. Subordinates are not consulted. Superior avoids responsibility, and relations are very, very formal. Consultative leadership. Superior consults the subordinates. Superior makes the decision. Superior is responsible for the decision. And in consultative leadership style, since the superior and the subordinate communicate with each other, the relations become informal. Next one, participative leadership. The superior consults the subordinates. The superior and the subordinates makes the decision. The superior and subordinates shares the responsibility for decisions, and the relations are very informal. Difference between consultative and participative. So consultative, they discuss, but superior takes the decision. In participative, they discuss, but both together take the decision. Laissez-faire approach. Laissez-faire approach is where the superior allows the subordinate to take the decision. The superior acts more like a guide. The superior and subordinates shares the responsibility for the decision, and the relations are very, very informal. Paternalistic style. paternalistic style of leadership is usually followed in Japanese organizations. Over here, the leader acts more like a fatherly figure. Superior considers himself as a parent. Superior would consult the subordinates. The superior is held responsible for the decision. The relations are very, very homely. Sociocratic leadership. Here, the decision is taken keeping in mind the interest of the subordinates. The subordinates are definitely consulted. Such kind of leadership styles are usually observed in social clubs. Neurocratic leadership. Superior may be emotional and eccentric. He may not consult the subordinates and superior before making the decision. Here, the superior is responsible for the decision but shifts the responsibility to his subordinates. Situational leadership is usually the ideally used leadership where the leader uses a combination of all the styles: autocratic, consultative and participative. So these are the various styles of leadership that could be followed by a leader depending on the situation. So autocratic, there could be times where a leader cannot always be consultative and participative. So in such times, he could adopt an autocratic approach. So no leadership is the best or the worst style. Everything depends from situation to situation. So transactional leadership is a style of leadership whereby a leader secures compliance of followers through rewards for good performance and punishment for poor performance. Basically, transactional theory of leadership is also known as managerial leadership. This basically focuses on the role of supervision, organization and group performance. This theory of leadership, or rather this style of leadership, was described by Max Weber in 1947 and further explained by Bernard Bass in 1981. What does the transactional leader do? First, sets the goals and expects the follower to achieve those goals. He or she provides the directions and guidance to the subordinates. Planned goals are achieved or not. If they are achieved, they are rewarded, and if they are not achieved, they are punished. Let's take an example of sports coaches. So what do sports coaches do? They train the players to a great extent. If they do well, they would be selected in the teams. If they do not play well, they would be removed from the team. Okay, so this kind of transactional theory of leadership is more concerned with following rules rather than bringing change in the organization. Okay, now what are the qualities of these leaders? They use rewards and punishments. They accept the existing structure. They are action oriented. They do not think out of the box. They are usually passive in nature. Subordinates have to obey the orders of the superior. Employees are motivated, but they are not self-motivated. Okay? You have to remember that in this kind of leadership theory or style, superiors don't want change. They follow the existing structure and teach the subordinates to achieve those goals. If they achieve, they are rewarded. If they do not, they are punished. So this is the transactional style or theory of leadership. We will be covering two theories of leadership. One is transactional and one is transformational. So let me repeat again. Transformational leadership is what we are going to do in the next slide. What we did just now was transactional leadership, and transactional leadership focuses on rewards and punishments. Okay, if the employee does well, he is rewarded. If the employee does not do well, he is punished. They do not accept change. They don't want to change the existing structure. They work on the same structure as it is. Now, let's move on to transformational leadership. Okay, what does transformational leadership do? It inspires the followers and makes them interested in their job, right? Transformational leadership was developed initially by McGregor Burns in 1978, and according to him, leaders and followers enable each other to advance to a higher level of morality and motivation. This was further developed by other experts, and they gave the elements of transformational leadership. Okay, so transformational leadership inspires the followers and makes them interested in their job. They provide challenges to the followers. They understand the strengths and weaknesses of the employees to enhance the performance. They believe in making a change. They act as role models. So what does transformational leadership do? They say that transformational leadership is a type of leadership that motivates and empowers employees to achieve the company's goals by appealing to higher ideas and moral values. Let's take a look at the elements of transformational leadership. The first element of transformational leadership is individualized consideration. What is individualized consideration? Over here, personal attention is given to each followers, and the leader acts as a coach, mentor to the follower. Okay. The leader may constantly provide suggestions and advice to improve the performance. The leader may provide support and open communication and place challenges before the followers. The second element of transformational leadership is intellectual simulation. What is intellectual simulation? Intellectual simulation refers to where a leader tries to find out what is wrong rather than blaming. Okay, so the leader focuses on what's wrong in problems and do not focus on the blaming part. They have no hesitation in discarding an old practice that is set by them, which is no longer effective. Okay, they never publicly criticize for the mistakes committed by them. The third element of transformational leadership is inspirational motivation. They inspire followers to leave their comfort zone and be optimistic. You know what happens when employees get to their comfort zone? They do not accept change easily. They resist change. So inspiring leaders, what they do? They encourage their followers to do something new. Right? They provide purpose and meaning to the task and energy that drives a group forward. Okay. The last element of transformational leadership is idealized influence. Now, the leader acts as a role model for the followers. When the leader encourages followers to be better, those influenced will then go to some others and repeat the positive behavior, thereby passing on the leadership qualities to other followers. So when I feel that this leader is a role model and I follow that leader, I will try to put that leader's thoughts in others also. And this influences other followers, and the respect of that leader is increased. So what we are trying to do here, we are trying to influence other followers also and act as a role model. So what are the 4 elements of transformational leadership? Individualized consideration, intellectual stimulation, inspirational motivation, and idealized influence. Individualized consideration means where the leader acts as a coach and a mentor to each follower. Intellectual stimulation means finding what is wrong rather than blaming the followers. Inspirational motivation is where the followers are inspired to leave their comfort zone and be optimistic. And idealized influence is where they are influenced in a way that the leader's influence is on others and the leader acts as a role model. Now, let us understand the distinction between transactional and transformational leadership. Okay? What is transactional leadership and what is transformational leadership? Transactional leaders are reactive in nature, whereas transformational leaders are proactive in nature. What is reactive in nature? The leader reacts after the employees are performing, and if they go wrong, they are corrected. Whereas transformational leaders are those who initially tell the followers what is to be done and what not is to be done, what is not to be done, so that the followers try to lessen the level of their mistakes. Transactional leaders accepts the existing setup, whereas transformational leaders always look for change. They like to work with the new system. They do not mind changing their new pattern, right? The third one, transactional leadership follows the pattern of rewards and punishments. That is, if the employees perform well, they are rewarded, and if they are not performing, they are punished. Transformational leadership follows the concept of commitment and dedication, right? They feel that if they encourage commitment and dedication in the hearts and minds of the followers, they would genuinely do better. Next one, work for self-interest. Transactional leaders work for their self-interest, whereas transformational leaders work in the interest of the group. Transactional leaders maintain status quo. जैसे चल रहा है चलने दो. Whereas transformational leaders look for innovation. They always want to come up with new ideas. Transactional leadership have no individual consideration. They may not give importance to individual consideration, but transformational leaders act as coach and advise the followers. They treat each employee individually and give them personal attention. Transactional leaders adopt a passive style of functioning, whereas transformational leaders adopt active style of functioning. Okay, and the last distinction, transactional leaders adopt laissez-faire approach. That means less interference, whereas transformational style adopts participative style. What is participative style? Participative style is where they involve the employees in decision making. And what is laissez-faire style? Where the leader hesitates to take decision making and responsibility. So both styles of leadership, or rather both theories of leadership, are or could be adopted, but what is preferable is the transformational theory of leadership. Leaders with transformational theory, or rather leaders who adopt transformational theory, are forward-looking and visionaries. So what did we cover in this video? We covered human relations, we covered leadership concept, styles of leadership. We also covered the transactional and transformational style of leadership. The next part of this module will be covered in the next video. Thank you.